Welcome to my daily review. Today is Tuesday, April 22, Earth Day, I guess. And you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. Today was a very interesting day. If you, some people are confused or they get conflicted or they don't know what to do, but just consider the trend of the market. It's the most important aspect of the market. When you see the 10, which is this green line here, and the 21, which is this magenta line here, heading south, that is clearly a downtrend. There's no way to mistake that. We want to be in the market when it's doing this. When the 10 is above the 21, and the 21 is above the 50 and it's trending higher. That's when you step on the gas. When it's doing this, crosses below the 50, crosses below the 200, this is a clear downtrend. Now it can change at any moment. I mean, we could have a follow-through day and power higher, and then you'll have time to buy some stocks. But for right now, this is clearly in a downtrend. And you can see today, plain as day, the Nasdaq traded up to its 10 EMA and got rejected and closed. The high was 6,410, 16,410, and the 10 EMA was 412. If I could get that for you there. You see that the 10 EMA is 16,412. The high was 410. So it kissed it, a little kiss, a little French, not a French kiss, European kiss, where they kiss both cheeks. They just kind of fake it and, and then pulled back a little bit. Still, the Nasdaq was up. Nice day. I'm not gonna. It was a nice day. A tradable rally is what we're kind of looking for here. But it was up 429 points, 2.71%. The volume was 16% below the average 50. And you could see how weak the volume has been recently because we're heading into earnings season, and what we saw here was like this is kind of climactic type of volume here as we got into that low from April 9th. That to me looks like kind of climactic sell volume and then a reversal of that low. But, if it was going to be a V-shaped rally, it should be rallying back through these moving averages, and it's not. It got rejected today at its 10. So just take it one day at a time. We're in a downtrend. It could change tomorrow, but for right now, it's a downtrend, and to me, this is just, a tradable market, nothing to get along or sink your teeth into. If you get too big in the market, it reverses on you and then you get hammered and you feel bad. Anyway, this week it's up 14 points or 0.09%. So much ado about nothing here, flat on the week. And it was a Scotty Besant market today. You could see here on the 5-minute chart, it was like it gapped higher and was having a nice day, but then Scotty, said that the China deal was unsustainable or the tariffs in the market like that. So, beam me up, Scotty, for all you Star Trek fans. And then it did beam up, made a high there of the 410. That's where it kissed the 10 EMA and then rejected right away. You can see that action there. But after the fade, it did, into the close, it had a little bit of strength. So it gives me hope for tomorrow. Obviously, there's some earnings reports, as I mentioned earlier. The market gets a little cautious around earnings, and once those earnings are out and things clear up a little bit, the market hates uncertainty. We have a lot of uncertainty, and so once those earnings are out of the way, they'll have more clarity, at least on earnings. All right. I'm going to go to, oh, well, okay. I guess I'll do the SPY. I did show you the SPY. It was up today at 2.6%. But once again, on the week, just, kind of flat on the week. Nothing to write home about, right? IWM on the week up 0.5%, so it's doing a little better. And then the Dow Jones Industrial Average up, just flat on the week. Okay, so these are really basically doing nothing here. A big down day, a big up day, really flat overall. But yeah, we're waiting for earnings, and we got some this morning. I'm going to go right to it. A GE, which is a defense name, had a nice earnings report. It's got double digit, sales growth and, 60% earnings growth. They said they were going to take a hit due to tariffs, but I think the market just kind of expected that, and it rallied through its 10 and its 21. So a close above the 21, real positive for GE. We like that very much. RTX, the old Raytheon, they reported double-digit sales growth, but it's still well below the 200, excuse me, RTX, not the gold stocks. RTX below. Oh boy, this thing really got hammered. Wow. When I looked at this thing this morning, it was doing okay. Anyway, RTX earnings report. That's why earnings are so dangerous. That's not the one I wanted to show you, though. The one I wanted to show you was Northrop Grumman, defensive name. This is the opposite reaction of GE. They said they were going to take a hit as well on the tariffs. I didn't hear about RTX. I did see Northrop and GE. But anyway, this is why earnings are so dangerous. And if you're going to play earnings, I like to play them with options, so I can limit my losses instead of, if you owe 100 shares of this stock and you're down 67 points, that's a big hurt, 12%. But if you just say you buy $1,000 worth of calls and it craps out on you, well, all you can lose is $1,000. So you limit your losses that way. Wow, those two really got hammered. And the other one I was looking for was LMT. Lockheed Martin, and that one was up. Okay, flat session. Not bad. These are not real growth names, but just, hanging in there. Defense names. You could see the group. The aerospace defense group is a top five group. So some of these other ones have been performing like Helmet. That doesn't look too good either. Double bottom base. So I guess GE would be the leader of that group. I'd have to look closer at it. I'm not really into defense. I mean, it's too defensive for me. I'm more of a swing trading growth stock kind of guy, and it hasn't been my kind of market here for a while. All right, some other earnings to note is Verizon pulled back to the 200 and then rallied. So this is what you get during earnings. You think this thing's really going to sell off, sold off into the print, and then on the earnings gap down, it got bought up, man. Look at that. The gap was from 41 all the way up to 43. So a nice, nearly a 10% move there for Verizon there from the low to the high, 41 to 43.67. Not bad. I mean, for a stock like this is not a big mover. And the other one I wanted to show you was Danaher, was reported earnings this morning. No growth here, so there's hard to get excited about it. Had a nice 4% move, but the one big mover, a couple big movers. One was DGX Diagnostics, Quest Diagnostics was a big mover on earnings. They reported this morning. You can see that the RS line heading north. It's got the blue dot because it's relative to the S&P. This is showing relative strength. You can see the up on volume here. So a nice move from the medical services stock, Quest Diagnostic. And the other one was a networking stock reported last night, Calix. This one has the ability to move a lot on earnings, and it was up, what, 13% today, closed at 73% of its daily range. Not bad. So, yeah, some good earnings movers there. If we take a look at the weekly, yeah, that thing's got a long way to go. All right, today was a Costanza day. We had Beam Me Up Scotty and Star Trek, and also Seinfeld's Costanza goes the opposite because gold has been the big mover, this strength, and pretty much the only show in town, and everything else has been selling off. Well, today, pretty much everything else went up, and gold went down. A couple of the names that I was watching, Harmony, this one's still well above its 10 EMA. That's probably at its five. If I, change the moving averages, you're going to see this thing pull back to its five today. Now, I'm not saying buy the dip here. It's below the five. Okay. I'm saying buy a bounce on these because I still think they're going to trade higher. But you got to wait for the bounce. It could be a 2 or 3 day pullback, and you don't want to buy a dip and it keeps dipping down to the 21. So just be patient here if you want to own a gold stock. Agnico Eagle Mines, they report Thursday, the 24th. So just be patient here. This is going to move a lot of the names in this group. So don't get too anxious to buy this dip. It could last a little longer. GOLD, Barrick Gold, today they announced that their last mine in Canada is for sale. So I don't know if they have any takers or not, but you can see they have shown, delivered, 4%, 12%, 18%, 19% sales growth. We like the accelerating sales growth. Cup with handle pattern. This is a little slower mover. You can see it hasn't gone anywhere in a long time. Down 1% this week, but one to watch. And I think if the gold, which is the number one group, starts to move, it's gonna, what's the old saying? Rising tide lifts all boats. But it's definitely not a leader in this market. Orla is one of the leading stocks in this tape, just came down a little bit today, still way above its 10. These are the few stocks in the market that are above their 10 EMA. GFI, this is Goldfields, pulled back to its 10. You can clearly see that today. DRD, another South African gold miner, pulled back to its 10. So, these are just some of the ones that I'm watching here. WPM, Wheaton, Precious. Yeah, just probably pull back to its 5 or maybe the 8 there. But yeah, if you want to buy gold stocks, you want to participate in this, torrid, what I think is a climactic run in gold, you just got to buy the dips. A couple weeks ago, it gave you a dip here, a nice little dip to the 50 for the first time since the breakout from this, double bottom base pattern in Wheaton. Here's your, 64 and it broke out. Finally pulled back to the 10 and then just ripped right above 80. Now it's pulling back again. So is it going to find support at the 10, the 21, the 50? You don't know. That's why I say wait for the bounce. Don't buy the dip. All right. You could do whatever you want, but that's what I would do. All right. I mentioned the Nasdaq. You have to have an open mind. Your best ability in the stock market is flexibility. And then market's not going to go anywhere. Even if it has a follow through day and starts ramping higher, we need leading stocks to lead the market higher. We just don't have it right now. There are some biotech stocks that look pretty good. Gold stocks obviously have been strong, but you need growth stocks to lead the market higher. And I saw some green shoots here today in Netflix breaking out of this double bottom base. I don't know why I didn't have this on my ready list after that report last Thursday. I'm asleep at the switch here because that was a real strong report, not really impacted by tariffs. And it's got this nice, double bottom base pattern, which pattern rec is picking up here. And it traded right to that 998.70 above, 1,000. That's a buy. So it's 40 points above it now. A little late, I think, to get in and chase it up here, especially in this tape here. It's a real, I've just showed you it's in a downtrend. So, 7.6 above the 10. I'm not chasing, but you can see the RS line heading through these moving averages here. The S&P, so it's got relative strength. It's got the blue dot, she's telling you that, this is one of the stronger stocks in the market. And you can see the volume here, the high volume move here. And I got to go to the weekly, even though it's only been 2 days. Yeah, this weekly volume is going to surpass what it's been doing recently. So anyway, yeah, 98%. Very nice move. There's that double bottom breakout. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Netflix, another leader. You go to the cryptocurrency markets and you got MicroStrategy. This could be a leader just trying to stay open-minded and flexible here. Just observing this is above the moving averages. And I've just talked about how we want to have stocks that are above the 10, above the 21, above the 50, and they're trending higher. And that's what you have here. I would say 340, 359 would be, my buy point for a, standard buy point. I think I have it on the ready list at a lower price point. I'd have to look through my charts here of my ready list. I forgot what I put MicroStrategy on. I know I have it on my ready list this week, along with about the three other names, a gold name and a couple of biotech names, but I don't have that information in front of me. And it doesn't matter because tomorrow's a new day and that buy point's behind us. And if you're looking for a new one, 350, 340, 359 would be an area of interest. And if you're a real adrenaline junkie, you could buy that's leveraged, seeks 1.75% of MicroStrategy. So this one was up 15% today. And yeah, this one's moving out. I mean, it was just 16 bucks, not too many sessions ago. What was 1645 on April 8th, right? And then April 9th, with, the market kind of took off, and there you go. So it's been a two-bagger already since April 8th. So that one's got a lot of mojo behind it. Yeah, look at that thing. Really sold off hard. So anyway, that's like I say, we need leading stocks in this market. Those could be leaders. Some other ones, the cryptocurrency, I'm expecting this one to be a leader. Got innovation, got the sales growth, just needs to get earnings out of the way. I'm expecting Robinhood to be a, long-term leader. They're the most innovative company in this brokerage space, and the younger generation really gravitates towards them. Another one, of course, is Bros. I expect this one to be a leader over time. Not right now, but give it time. Let them have another earnings report. They're going to report four strong quarters in 2025, just starting to grow. So looking for leadership. And I'm not talking about tobacco and food and the aerospace. Those are all very defensive. Biotech has some. I'm going to get there in a minute. Some retail names that I'm catching my eye here. This is Bell Ring Brands. Why is this one above the 50? Why are the, moving averages at 10, 21 and the 50 stacked and it's trending higher? You got that blue dot once again. This is up 3% today. Why is this one, well, it's got earnings and sales growth, but we see a lot of other stocks below the 50, below the 200, and this one's not. So it's showing strength. Some people like to refer them as, beach balls underwater, but stocks that are above their 50 in this horrible tape are showing relative strength. All right. Another one in the retail space. Retail's not my jam here right now. I'm a little afraid of retail, but TGX, just double bottom base, holding above its moving averages. They're above their 50. And you just take a look, at this weekly chart. This thing just trending higher and higher. There's your double bottom base. Yeah, it's down 1.5% this week, but you gotta acknowledge the strength in TJX. And another one is, I'm just going to throw this in the retail space because there's not many that I like. This is a Sport Radar Group, got an upgrade today, responded pretty well, up 9%. Now it's back above that, or it is above the 25 level. Very nice. So a nice move with volume for SRAD. If we take a look at this one, yeah, you can call this a little base in here and now moving higher. How about the monthly on this one? Look at that. That's like an IPO base. That looks like Robinhood, yes, and Bros. These ones look pretty similar. So anyway, I digress. Anyway, I do like SRAD. And I'm going to move on to some of the software names. Palantir, I was watching this one this morning. I kind of like to trade it a little bit because it's large and liquid. But here you go. It's just kind of trading. Had a nice little ramp this morning, kind of went sideways, and there you get your Scotty pump. Beam me up, Scotty Besant, and then it sold off and faded into the close. But nice day for Palantir. And this one's above its 50 now, so uh, this one's killing me. It's trading tight, it's trading kind of flat, it's above its 50, it's below, it's above, it's below, and now it's above. So just got to give it time to allow it to prove itself. Another one that I like is Rubric, cybersecurity name, another one of these double bottom base, but like Hood and Bros and Crowd, these are all below their 50 here. So they've got work to do. Then hard to get excited about a stock below its 50. The 10 is below the 21. So this one's got work to do, but looking, how shall I say? It's got potential here. If the market starts to behave and starts to have a follow today and starts, some of these, growth stocks are going to have to lead the market higher. And that's what I'm looking for, these growth stocks. I'm looking for the big win, the big fish. Spotify, another one that's, kind of like Netflix here, where subscribers are not going to ditch Spotify and Netflix, even if the economy gets rough. They want their creature comforts, and Spotify is certainly one. It's a double bottom base pattern. And, this is above the 50 now. So this is a little different than the other ones. Today it rallied back above the 50, but you could see the 10 and the 21 are below the 50. So it's still more work to do for Spotify, which reports next Tuesday. All right, that's it for those software names. I did mention the drug names. There's some biotech stocks that I think are showing big potential. This is ADMA, kind of been wild this week, up 9% today. It's got the growth though. It's got the growth that I like. It's got the pattern here, cup with handle pattern. It's flat on the week, but it's definitely one to watch. Uh, TARS is another one. It's got the growth profile here. It's double bottom pattern now above its moving averages. Yeah, this one's got potential as well. I like Tarsus Pharmaceuticals. CPRX is another one. It's kind of been lagging here. See this big, base on base pattern right there at the 50. You got the 10 and the 21 and the 50 all converging here within, 0.5% of each other. So I'm looking for, some of these names here in biotech that are holding up well, looking positive, showing potential. It's just, market has to cooperate. But these could be leaders here. WGS, look at the growth on this one here, up, 6.5% today. Moving averages, you got the 10, 21, and the 50 stack. This one looks fantastic to me as well. So a lot of biotech names that I like, and I cannot leave without mentioning NVO. This one has been beaten down, dragged out to the woodshed, left for dead, and and it's got good growth. I mean, you look at this 20% growth for a company this size, and if you look at the weekly, if you just go down the line here, they've been showing, quarter after quarter, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 billion a quarter. It's just up and up and up and up, and their EPS up and up and up, but the stock is going down, down, down. You can see the earnings line here. So something is wrong here, and the market doesn't get it wrong. The market's always right, but it can be inefficient and make mistakes, and you can get good quality stocks at low prices. And I think that's what's happening here with, I mean, I thought it was a good deal at 80, and here it is at 59. It was up today on news that they applied to the FDA for a pill, a weight loss pill for Wegovy. And those who don't like needles, which I do not like, I cannot stand a needle, and you just want to take a pill for weight loss, these guys are going to be the first to market if the FDA approves it. They said they're going to have more information on their earnings call on May 7th. The new administration, though, they were just talking recently about how they want to fast track everything and not slow play all these new drugs coming to market. So I think this one's going to get approved. Much needed good news for NVO. And to me, I like Eli Lilly, but to me, at these prices, and I think it's going to be the first $1,000 stock and the first $1 trillion market cap drug stock. First, but to me, I think NVO is a better buy, even though I don't like buying laggards. But I mean, that thing's got a 800 billion market cap, and this is 266, and the growth is pretty similar, and there's no reason for that disparity here, except for Novo Nordisk is an ADR and there's been a lot of talk about tariffs and pharmaceuticals, so. The U.S. stocks have an advantage, obviously, but they did buy Catalent. That deal went through, and they're going to be manufacturing in the United States. So I don't know it depends on your style and if you have patience and your age. Obviously, if you've got 20 years to, hold Novo Nordisk, it'll probably continue to do something like this. I mean, you're getting this price here at $59 where it was, back in what, 2021 or 2022. I mean, you're looking at 3 years of price, just out the window. So I think you're getting a bargain here. That's just me. But I'm not that patient of a person. And my age, I'm a little different. If I was 25, I would just be stockpiling this stuff away. But those days are gone. All right. Anyway, we cannot control when we were born. That's it for the drug names. I've got to go to just some random, going to take a random walk. And when I see stuff like Coca-Cola making new highs, This is a dividend play, a Warren Buffett stock. That doesn't excite me. I mean, it's more defensive in nature, like a McDonald's, these food stocks, ripping higher, up 3% today. This is very defensive. Kroger, I mentioned yesterday, making a new high today. These are really defensive names. At tobacco, pay huge dividends, making new highs. This is British American Tobacco. I mean, their yield is what? 7%. It's paying you 7% just to hold it. So, I'm more of a growth stock guy, and it's not been a good market for me, but yeah, I can't get into buying stuff like that. So I'm just taking a random walk, showing you strength, and it's not all defensive. This Luxembourg stock, Millicom, this one continues to make new highs and shows, pretty well here. We know that there was money coming out of the US market and buying these foreign assets like the German and this Latin American and China and European names like TIGO, Millicom. So that one's showing strength. Another one, this group was, I think, one of the top three groups over the week in the medical hospital. And it's only has six stocks in this group. And this is what's driving it. This NUTX has gone nutty. This thing has gone nutty for a hospital stock. Look at this thing is just ramping higher, up 210% this month. Well, what is the Nasdaq up this month, or excuse me, down this month? Nasdaq's down 5.7%, and NUTX is up 210. So you talk about outperformance, and that's why those medical hospital names, where there was only six stocks and one of them's up 210%. So that's driving that industry group. ATO, another, utility stock, making new highs, very defensive, pays a dividend. And I think that's it for I think I've proven my point here. The utilities, knee, I was up 3% today. Anyway, I digress. All right. The last group I wanted to show you, I always say keep an open mind. If the market wants to, trade higher and stocks want to go higher and maybe they've bottomed, I'm taking a look at the housing market. The news couldn't get much worse, could it? Really bad news, and it's starting to go up on bad news. These guys reported a horrible quarter, and it's going higher. This is D.R. Horton, the largest home builder. So that tells me, maybe that week was the low there. On April 11th at 110 last week, had an inside week, and now it's starting to make, higher high and higher lows. That's where trends start. I just cannot ignore this stuff. Lennar, the same thing. These things are all looking the same here. Higher lows up 3% this week. Pulte Homes, I mean, this thing was ripping today. It's up 6% this week. You have that low there of 88 inside week last week, and now it's blasting higher this week. I know it's below its moving averages and everything's trending lower, but this is how bottoms are put in. I'm not calling it a bottom, but I'm just making the observation that this is how bottoms look. And this is how reversals are made. Makes that low. KB Homes 4890 has the inside week and now, making higher highs and higher lows. So definitely something to watch in the home builder residential stocks. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except for in the honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing, and that is earnings. I mentioned earlier, earnings season is here. I showed you some earnings reports from last night and this morning. And Tesla reported tonight, just a horrific quarter. Yeah, I think it was, but it's priced in. So like I was just saying with the home builders, when you have something that went from, 488 down to what 214, all this negative news is priced in. So now they come out tonight and say, I forget what they expected, 27%, excuse me, 27 cents in earnings, and they came up with 19 or something, and the revenue was a miss. They were both a miss. I didn't listen. I don't know what happened on the call or about guidance or anything, but it's not down. And when a stock doesn't go down on bad news, that tells you one thing that, it's probably going to go the other way. And all this bad news is priced in. So it had a lot of volume here near those lows. So maybe all the bad news is priced in Tesla, and maybe it'll make a bottom and start trading higher. But as a growth investor, I don't see how growth managers can justify owning these Mag 7 stocks anymore. There's just no growth in them. maybe Amazon or Meta or Google have growth, but Meta and Google have problems with the government. I just want to stay away from that. Apple, there's not much growth in Apple or Microsoft. Anyway, I digress. And the stock that does have growth is going nowhere. It's like all the growth is priced in. Nvidia's got these massive, gaudy numbers, and the stock can't go anywhere. So anyway, all right. Who else reported tonight? Intuitive Surgical. Now, I did read their report. It was a very good report. Their latest Da Vinci model increased a great percentage. I forget the percentage, but it was a lot. Stock is down in after hours. I would watch for that one tomorrow and see a bounce. We see a lot of wonky moves around earnings, but that was a good earnings report. So I'm watching for that one. SAP, this German software company, they reported up 7% after hours. I didn't read the report. I just saw the reaction, and that's a good reaction. In phase, I would think they would do well because it's an American company and with tariffs on China, but this thing is down 11% after hours. I didn't see the report, but it's been in a downtrend for a long, long time. This is since 20 when the bear market, this is still bear market. It's been in its own bear market, even though the index was in a massive uptrend the last few years. All right. Sorry if you're an in phase, shareholder. That's not funny. It's a rough time. STLD reported tonight. Did not read the report. Up, 2%, not bad. Um, the Capital One Financial, COF, up 0.5%. Once again, I didn't read the report. I'll have more information in the morning. But it did, it undercut its 200. Now it's rallied back above it. It's above the 10. It's above the 21. So it's got some work to do. But you can see it's consolidating in this base here. Once again, we see in this market this famous double bottom base pattern. But they need to rip higher above their 50, and they need to get these shorter term moving averages curling higher above the longer term moving averages. So that one has work to do. A couple more in the morning. I'm looking towards Boeing's going to report in the morning. There you can see that pattern rec is picking up on that double bottom base. T reports, Verizon reported this morning. AT&T reports in the morning. VRT, I'm interested in this one. I think they're going to have a good report. I don't know how the stock's going to respond, but maybe that bottom there is 53. This has got a ton of growth, and it's now a 27 billion market cap. Really got hit on the January 27th whack day, and those stocks, those data center AI stocks, have been off limit since that day. We'll see what they say in the morning, and then GEV, they report tomorrow. Okay, so we'll see what they have to say. Up today on the GE report, maybe it'll rally through the 50. That's looking pretty good there on that double bottom base. So anyway, thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. This is one that got whacked on January 27th, so maybe it'll be the first one to start showing a recovery after that just horrific day on January 7th, the deep seek, January 27th, the deep seek day where everything was in deep doo-doo. Yeah, that was a bad day. 22%. The stock going down 22%. Yeah, that does have the double bottom pattern and is trying to move above the moving average. So like I say, you got to stay flexible and keep an open mind, and always, you never give up.